Is it fair to say that Canelo Alvarez is maybe ducking Benavidez, maybe ducking Terence Crawford? Because obviously Edgar Berlanga, Canelo, why you gotta do this to us, man? Like, Edgar Berlanga is the guy that you came up with for Mexican Independence Day weekend. We're getting Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga. I just, like, out of everybody, that's what we come up. This is a crazy sport, guys. This is the crazy sport, because we hear about Benavidez. Canelo prices himself out saying, you know, I deserve 100 million. Okay, that's fine. You could do that. But if we put Terence Crawford in front of you, you say nobody's going to give you credit for a guy like Terence Crawford. But Terence Crawford's willing to challenge you, and you go for Edgar Berlanga. This is crazy. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, I'll watch it. I don't know if I'm gonna pay for it though. I'm sure it's a Canelo fight. It's gonna be on pay-per-view, but damn, like, we gotta pay for Canelo and Edgar Berlanga. Wow. It's a crazy time in boxing right now, but I guess this is just the time we're living in with the sport. I'm not gonna lie, these kinds of fights are the reasons that, you know, boxing fans aren't as common. You know, they're not rampant like it used to be. Everybody used to hop on that boxing trend and really enjoy these fights when they would really be fighting each other. I'm not, you know, talking about the Hagler Hearns days. Not even that. Those were great days too. But even more recent years, I just feel like fighters really are just all about the business now, and I can see why a lot of people, especially the younger generations, they get very invested into the UFC, because those guys are actually fighting each other. In boxing, we don't really get the fights that we asked for. Like, nobody was out here asking for Canelo and Berlanga. No one was asking for Berlanga and, you know, Jaime Munguia, which I think that's a more interesting fight than Canelo and Berlanga. Berlanga doesn't have a chance against Canelo. Like, straight up, Berlanga doesn't have a chance. I'm telling you guys, Berlanga does not have a chance. Whoever, like, even spends like a cent on picking Berlanga, no, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, he's just not ready for Canelo Alvarez. And this is a big payday, and, you know, if he were to prove me wrong, he's not proving me wrong. Canelo isn't losing to Edgar Berlanga. He had a worse chance against Charlo, and just going from that to Munguia and then Berlanga, you know, Munguia was at least, you know, I could understand it. He's a fellow Mexican fighter, gave him a payday, let him walk out of there. But I just feel like Berlanga is not the opponent that we're supposed to be seeing with a guy like Canelo on Mexican Independence Day. That's a big date, and not the best delivery from Canelo Alvarez. That's not a great fight, honestly. That's a C+ fight for Canelo Alvarez. And I think, you know, at this point, I understand making a lot of money, but what does this fight even really do for you? Does this do anything for your career? I mean, I understand, you know, beating the best guys out there in your weight class, but we want to see, if it's not David, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, really? You know, you're just fight Crawford, like, literally just fight Crawford. That's the fight I wanted to see. And I like Canelo. It's just, this isn't it, bro. This is not the fight that we asked for. This is not the fight that we're getting, that we wanted. We wanted that Canelo fight with David Benavidez. We wanted Canelo and Crawford. Like, give us that. Like, if you can't give us that, you're not giving us the fights we're asking for in the sport. And I just think it's just a weird time right now. Like, we're really getting Edgar Berlanga. Sorry, I'm being repetitive, but I can't believe it. Comment down below, are you guys, does this fight excite you? I feel like it's just a setup for Canelo to get another, you know, stoppage win. Not that he didn't stop Munguia and Charlo, obviously, but I think this style, even at this point in Canelo's career, where you could argue maybe he's on the tail end of his career, heading towards retirement, making business decisions, but this isn't a big fight. Like, this isn't a big fight, and I don't see any big threat for him. I feel like we've seen Berlanga look vulnerable on multiple occasions in multiple fights. Just not a very defensively responsible fighter. Still an inexperienced and green fighter. I just think, you know, Canelo stops him, and sure, it'll be entertaining while it lasts, but at the end of the day, real boxing fans are just going to be like, yep, he was supposed to do that. It's not, there's no like impressive factor about beating a guy like Edgar Berlanga if you're Canelo Alvarez. If you're Munguia, it's more valuable, but it's Canelo, you know, it's not the fight that we asked for. It's not the fight that we wanted to see. And like I said before, this is another big reason why boxing is in a troubled place right now. And I'm not saying, you know, it's dead or anything like that. Boxing very much, you know, is strong in terms of having a lot of fans. I just mean, you know, the people that are considering watching more and more of boxing, like they don't know who Edgar Berlanga is. They've never heard of Edgar Berlanga. And then you're going to ask them to watch a pay-per-view. I'm not sure they're going to watch that. And this could be one of Canelo's last fights. And it's just one of those fights that, you know, no one really cares to see, because as real boxing fans, who the hell is picking Edgar Berlanga to beat Canelo Alvarez? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the Charlo fight didn't make sense, and Munguia didn't really make sense. But it was like, they're exciting names. This is just like Edgar Berlanga. You know, he got a lot of credit for obviously being with Top Rank and being that guy to consistently get those first round knockouts. And it was a matter of, you know, when's he going to knock this guy out? When's he going to knock the guy out? But as he continued to level up in opposition, you know, we saw a little bit of some holes in his games that showed that, yeah, he is a young fighter. And don't put this guy in there with a big dog or a big gun anytime soon. And look what he's getting. You know, he's getting Canelo off of, you know, his last few fights. What fights have really prepared him for this moment? And I'm not saying, you know, he's not going to make a lot of money. Obviously, this is going to be the biggest payday of Berlanga's life, but it's like, at what cost? You know, he's putting his career on the line, you know, to make this big fight happen, and I just don't think it's the right time for him. And it's definitely, you know, if you're Canelo, why are you fighting Berlanga? Like, why is this the fight that you looked at? You didn't even try to get into negotiations with David Benavidez. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that. Even though he fought at 75, I feel like Benavidez, he's earned that right. Give it to somebody that's genuinely earned it. He just hasn't. I would honestly rather see a Caleb Plant rematch with Canelo than see Berlanga get in there with him. You know, Berlanga and Caleb Plant should have fought instead, but obviously this is a business thing, and I understand, you know, Matchroom, everything like that, and then Al Heyman. So that's the thing, you know, the business gets in the way of these big fights, and I always tell you guys that, because that's the reality of the sport. It's like, we'd love to see a lot of these fights, but it's also up to Canelo to actually, you know, cross that bridge and make the step to make a big fight happen. And obviously it's on both ends. It has to be on both ends of the street, that, you know, they have to be willing to make the fight. But for Canelo, I just wish that he would give us one of those big fights instead of Berlanga. It'll be exciting while it lasts, but no one's really picking Berlanga to beat Canelo. And if Canelo stops him, it's like, okay, you were supposed to do that. There's no, you know, real sense of, wow, he really just did that. Canelo's the GOAT now. No one's going to say that. If he beat Benavidez, that conversation is open. If he beat Crawford, that conversation is open. But Berlanga, this doesn't really do anything for me in terms of, you know, how I view Canelo's career down the line, like in terms of a legacy fight, which is honestly what Canelo should be going for at this point in his career. You know, I get Berlanga is an exciting fighter. Like I mentioned before, that run with Top Rank that he had, you know, how they hyped him up as being that knockout artist, this and that. I get that, you know, I understand, but when it comes down to it, there's no reason why he should be in the ring with Canelo. He hasn't earned that fight. I think if anything, you know, like I said before, Caleb Plant and Canelo is a fight that I'd rather see in a rematch than I'd prefer that over seeing Berlanga in there with Canelo. And maybe I'm just a hater, and I've heard rumors about this fight, but I always said there's no way that fight's happening, because it's like, who's gonna watch it besides like people that really know boxing? And even then, you know, they're not getting excited about that fight, because it's like, Berlanga's gonna get stopped. You know, I think Berlanga's gonna get stopped, or, you know, if Canelo shows that signs of aging and decides to let this young guy live another day, then maybe he doesn't get the stoppage. But either way, I feel like this doesn't really do anything for Canelo. So I'm surprised he's choosing Berlanga as his next opponent. But it is what it is. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a hater, but I just really want to see Canelo in those big fights, not these gimme fights where he's like tailor-made for you and you're just gonna look good and there's no danger in the fight, no real excitement for us. But let me know in the comments. I really wish If you guys agree, I really wish that, you know, Benavidez was the one given the opportunity by Canelo, or even if it was, you know, like I said, Caleb Plant, a rematch, or, you know, Crawford. I would have liked to see those fights instead. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.
That's going to do it for another Nads Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.